Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. I want to take a look at a couple of passages in Romans 9 through 11 and connect that with the name of our God, the name of Yahweh. The two passages are this. The first is a quote from Deuteronomy 32, a quote from Moses. And this is referred to in Romans 10:19, where Moses says this, I will make you envious, speaking of the Jewish people, I will make you envious by those who are not a nation. Jealous, envious by those who are not a nation. I'll make you angry by a nation that has no understanding. He's speaking of the Jews being made jealous by non-Jews. Now Paul picks up on this understanding in Romans 11, chapter 11, verse 13. He says, I am talking to you Gentiles inasmuch as I am an apostle to the Gentiles. I make much of my ministry in the hope that I may somehow arouse my own people, the Jews, to envy, to jealousy, and to save some of them as a result of that. Both Moses and Paul are speaking of creating envy in the hearts and minds of the Jewish people. Now that begs the question, what is it that would create envy and jealousy? And the term that is used here, incidentally, is a very strong term. It means to seek or desire eagerly, to intensively provoke and burn with jealousy, dissatisfaction, discontent, frustration, disappointment. Jealousy. What is it that would create that kind of response and jealousy among the Jewish people? I think it's two things. Number one, the scriptures tell us that the Jew requires a sign. 1 Corinthians 1 tells us that. What kind of a sign? I would suggest it's the very signs that Jesus and the apostles performed. The miracles, the signs, the wonders, the healings, raising of the dead, cleansing of the lepers, restoring of sight to the blind. These miraculous signs, people empowered before the Jews for these kinds of things. These were the kinds of things that validated their ministry, the ministry of Jesus, the ministry of the apostles. It would be one thing for them to just simply say it and teach it, but to have it authenticated by these signs and miracles, that's what got the Jews' attention. The masses followed them. It was the leaders that were challenged and threatened by Jesus and the apostles, but the masses followed him. They loved him, and they saw the signs and miracles that they did. So I would suggest when we see that again, when the Jews see that kind of miraculous empowerment and anointing of God's Spirit on Gentiles, that will create jealousy. The second thing, and I think even more important, is the name of Yahweh. The name of Yahweh is to be exalted from the rising of the sun to where it sets. That's not happening today. We don't hear that among the Jews. We won't hear it among the Jews because the rabbis have said, don't do it. Don't use his name. It's too holy. You can be guilty of using the Lord's name in vain, so don't use it. They're forbidden to use it. The Messianic Jews are guided by that as well. It will be the Gentiles who exalt and bring forth the name of Yahweh. And that's yet to happen. It's not happening in the pulpits. And we do hear it among the praise and worship teams across the country. You can get on YouTube and put in Yahweh, and you can see the number of praise teams across the country that are using the name of Yahweh, praising his name, exalting, glorifying his name. And that, I believe, and I would suggest, would create a jealousy. What could create more jealousy than for the Jew to see that the Gentiles is using the name of his God, the name of Yahweh, the God of the Scriptures, the God of Israel? Well, that's what's happening, and that will happen. God will anoint in the days ahead those who will exalt his name, and they will be authenticated by the signs and miracles and wonders that Jesus and the apostles had. That's what's going to create jealousy among the Jewish people. Oh, magnify Yahweh with me and let us exalt his name together. And that's the truth.